It was the 1920s. The First World War had just ended. Lord Clifford Chatterley returned home from the war a broken and unhappy man. The war had taken away his manhood. Paralyzed from the waist down with almost no hope of having children, he was forced to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. He was married to Lady Constance Chatterley, known as Coney, a free spirited young woman who was far ahead of her time. They lived at Rugby, their family estate. Though Clifford and Coney loved each other, the tragic changes in Clifford's life slowly began to affect their marriage. Over time, this emotional strain pushed them apart, leaving them distant and disconnected. Clifford tried desperately to bring meaning back into his life. He threw himself into running the coal mines he owned. He wrote constantly, producing sharp and intelligent pieces. He also surrounded himself with people who thought like him. But in doing all this, he became blind and deaf to the silent pain of his wife. Coney was suffering quietly and alone. Clifford often told her that emotional closeness, not physical intimacy, is what keeps a marriage alive. But this way of thinking clearly served his needs, not hers, and Coney, a free spirited woman, could not accept this. Trying to close the growing distance between them, believing that a child could save their marriage, he made a strange request. He asked Coney to take a lover, but to remain emotionally and socially bound to him. This request angered her deeply. Coney was willing to love Clifford exactly as he was, but only if he respected her feelings. She believed that even with his paralysis, a sexual relationship, though different, was still possible. After all, there were no fixed rules when it came to physical intimacy. But fate had other plans. During her lonely walks in the woods, Coney met Oliver Mellors, her husband's gamekeeper. Slowly, they fell deeply in love with each other. Mellors was working class, Coney was an aristocrat. In post war Britain, a relationship like this was unthinkable, but they did not care. The differences that had crept into their marriage because of Clifford's incapacity as a man were bound to happen sooner or later, for they were also poles apart in their make and mold. I am Charlotte Jimmy, and this is my channel where I talk about books, stories, and the magic they leave behind. The novel can certainly be called a beautifully written adulterous romance, but seeing it only that way would be unfair to a great classic. I made that mistake myself 3 times. Even so, the intense romance completely swept me away, and the explicit love scenes were written with beauty and sensitivity. It is no surprise that I was left in awe of the author's skill and of his courage and honesty in writing about subjects that were forbidden at the time. It was only during my fourth reading that I understood there was much more to the book. Perhaps my lack of life experience played a role in this. The novel is an unapologetic portrayal of human emotions that we are still hesitant to discuss openly today. In short, Lady Chatterley's Lover is not just about a passionate adulterous romance. It explores many deeper themes: the suffering of women in post war Britain who were treated like property and trapped in empty marriages, the rise of machines that drained life of human warmth, and the strict class divisions that shaped relationships. These ideas are explored with such depth that I believe the novel needs to be read many times to be fully understood. Coming back to Coney, she cannot be seen as a typical woman of either the upper class or the working class. She was neither emotionally nor sexually restrained, which was rare among women of both classes in post war Britain. Most women then depended entirely on marriage, were sexually restrained, and were reduced to merely existing rather than truly living. In contrast, Coney questioned traditional ideas of marriage, accepted her own desires, and chose personal fulfillment over social duty. Lawrence clearly presents her as an exceptional character to challenge social norms. Coney saw her marriage as unsatisfying and believed she had the right to leave a relationship that no longer fulfilled her. At a time when sex was seen as a duty, female desire was considered improper, and adultery was taboo, Coney chose to look for love outside marriage. In strict post war Britain, relationships between the aristocracy and the working class were unthinkable. Yet Coney dared to be different, and while most women remained silent about emotional unhappiness, sexual frustration, and empty marriages, Coney spoke openly about her feelings. The novel also explores how machines can corrupt a person. I remember reading Origin by Dan Brown, where a futurist predicts that artificial intelligence could take over humanity by 2050. But in Lady Chatterley's Lover, D.H. Lawrence had already shown how machines were taking away what makes us truly human, our warmth and emotional connection. While Lord Clifford Chatterley symbolized machines' coldness and emotional distance, Lady Constance Chatterley and her lover Oliver Mellors represented life. Apart from that, their romantic encounters took place in the woods or in Mellors' cottage, close to nature, full of energy and warmth. I deeply admire D.H. Lawrence. This book made me wonder how a man could understand a woman's mind so deeply and express emotions she might not even recognize herself, let alone share with others. I could relate to it, and I felt thrilled that someone, especially a man, was speaking these feelings out loud nearly 100 years ago. Almost 100 years later, the novel remains relevant. Industrialization, mechanization, women's rights, and class divisions, issues Lawrence warned about, are still very much alive. Lady Chatterley's Lover is not merely a scandalous romance, it is a bold, honest exploration of love, desire, and human connection. So it's time we stop calling this book just an adulterous romance or labeling it as filth that corrupts the mind.